Hi, this is Kylie with Fem and Flow. I hope everyone's having a beautiful day. In the last episode, we talked about exiting the spiral, the upward integration spiral that guided us through emotional clearing, energetic refinement, and stabilizing a new frequency. We also explored how to begin embodying that energy, how to gently live from the light we've anchored. And today we're going deeper. Because once the integration spiral ends, something profound happens. The energy doesn't just exist within you anymore, it begins to express through your body. This is where fascia, posture, skin, and presence all start to reflect your stabilized field. This is where glow, magnetism, and beauty come not from effort, but from coherence. This is where your body becomes the portal. So let's begin. First, it's important to understand the spiral versus the expansion. Before we fully step into the embodiment phase, let's talk about the different phases that brought you here. There are three main energetic movements we experience in transformation. The first thing we experience is the downward spiral. This is when your field turns inward and downward. It takes you deeper into density, shadow, and distortion. It's not a punishment, it's a purification. You might feel fear, shame, or confusion during this phase. Your body often contracts, your thoughts spiral, and you may feel like you're losing ground. But actually, you're clearing illusion. The downward spiral is the collapse of illusion, but only if you stay awake inside it. The second thing is the upward spiral of energy. This is the integration spiral. This is the phase where you begin healing, recalibrating, and anchoring a new frequency. It's intense but purposeful. You're clearing old coding while rising into alignment. The emotions might include grief, hope, insight, and surrender. Your body is still recalibrating, detoxing, shifting, stretching. You might feel on and off momentum as you ascend through your layers. This upward spiral refines you layer by layer until the signal is clear. And then the third energetic movement is outward expansion. And now you're here. Your energy is no longer spiraling, it's stabilized. And from that stability, it begins to expand outward. You become radiant, soft, magnetic. Your reality begins to respond to your field, not your effort. Your body becomes the portal, and everything around you begins to reorganize in response to that stabilized coherence. Outward expansion is not you becoming more, it's the world finally sinking to what you've always been. Now let's talk about what happens after the spiral ends. When you exit the spiral, you're no longer cycling through emotional purges, healing loops, or energetic integrations. You've landed. You've stabilized. And from here, your field begins to expand outward, not up or down anymore, but radiantly outward. This is what that outward expansion does. The first thing the outward expansion does is reality restructuring begins around you. Your stabilized field begins to pull your external reality into resonance. Old timelines collapse without drama. New aligned connections and opportunities start appearing fast. You don't chase, you orbit. You're no longer moving towards your future. Your future is folding into you. The second thing that outward expansion does is you become a harmonic anchor for others. Your field becomes a tuning fork. People feel calmer around you. You're no longer teaching with effort, you're guiding with frequency. Your field does the talking now. The third thing that happens in this outward expansion is your body glows more because it's conducting more light. Cells hold more light. Your skin glows. Your fascia carries flow. The weight your body once held, emotionally or physically, begins to melt. You're not becoming younger, you're becoming original. The fourth thing that happens during this energetic expansion is you begin tuning into the collective white grid. You connect with others who've stabilized too. The new earth scaffolding becomes visible. You realize you're not alone. You're linked. You become part of the scaffolding of new earth without needing to build it alone. And the fifth thing is your voice, breath, and movement become activations. Everything you do carries the code. A walk, a podcast, a breath. Your presence radiates intelligence and coherence. Your aura becomes sacred architecture. And that's where we go next. The era of effort is over. In the black hole state, your body was responding to chaos. Tight fascia, nervous system spikes, emotional turbulence. Beauty had to be controlled. Healing felt like a battle. But now you've stabilized. You're no longer swinging between timelines. Your energy is coherent, and the body finally feels safe to reflect that. And here's something important to remember. Even after your field has stabilized, your body may still be catching up. The physical body is always the last to fully integrate. Your aura stabilizes first, your emotional field clears, but the body, the densest part, takes a little more time. So why is that? This is because your body holds the deepest memory, the oldest patterning, the most practiced protection. But now it finally feels safe. It begins to unwind. Not from pressure, but from peace. The body is not lagging, it's translating light into form. Give it time and you'll watch it become the proof. When the body stops bracing, it starts blooming. Now let's talk about going from energy in flux to frequency in form. When we were in survival mode, our energy was in constant motion, trying to fix, purge, upgrade, escape. And that chaos showed up in our bodies. But frequency and form is different. You stabilize your field, and your body begins to mirror it, spontaneously, gracefully, intelligently. You don't need to force anymore. You just need to hold resonance. Now let's talk about how your body is the technology. You don't need to leave your body to access higher dimensions. Your body is the multidimensional technology. Fascia is the light web. Skin is the coherence mirror. Voice is the tuning fork. The womb and gut are timeline anchors. You are not in a body. You are a frequency made visible through a body. Now let's talk about how fascia plus light equals repatterning. Fascia is one of the most important yet overlooked systems in the body. It's the thin, web-like connective tissue that wraps around every muscle, organ, and nerve. And what most people don't realize is that fascia isn't just structural, it's electrical. Fascia is piezoelectric, meaning it creates electrical charges when compressed or stretched. That's why movement, breath, or even gentle pressure can generate internal energy shifts. It's also why emotional release happens during body work, because the fascia holds memory as charge. So, this is where emotions and fascia really come together. We always say we create our reality with our emotional frequency, right? But it's not just the emotions you're consciously sending out in the moment, it's also what's being stored and broadcasted through your fascia. Because fascia holds memory as charge. So, if you have old grief, shame, stress, or fear that's never been metabolized, your fascia is still quietly pulsing with that frequency, even if your mind has moved on. That charge becomes a kind of hidden signal, one that shapes the field around you and pulls certain dynamics toward you. But once you release that, through body work, through breath, through softness, you're not just letting go of a feeling. You're clearing the energetic script your body has been looping. You're making room for new emotions to move through clean fascia. And that's where reality really begins to shift. Because now your fascia isn't holding a distorted past, it's conducting your present tone. That glow, that softness, that joy, it radiates out and starts creating for you. This is why your body is the portal. Now, here's something really important we need to name. And if you've been listening to my podcast for a while, you probably already see this pattern. And if not, you would see this pattern if you look at my old content versus now. I mentioned in the last episode that we are viewing things from three different paradigms or perspectives, essentially. We have the black hole paradigm, the bridge paradigm, and the white hole paradigm. And when we exit the spiral, we realize that there are these three different paradigms, and then we just spiral up through the middle. In the black hole paradigm, and even in much of the bridge work covered in previous episodes, I kept saying we really need to be careful with our emotions. That we need to monitor what we're feeling, we need to learn how to become the observer. We need to detach and stay neutral so we can learn to regulate our nervous systems and not attract that black hole chaos. And in that density of the black hole, that was wise, and I stand by what I said. Because in that paradigm, our fields were still unstable. We were reactive. Our emotions were easily distorted by shadow, trauma, or looping subconscious beliefs. So the goal back then was to not act from emotion. We wanted to witness instead of express. And that helped build nervous system regulation and energetic safety. But now, in the white hole paradigm, that flips. You're no longer here to suppress or monitor your emotional charge. You're here to generate it consciously because your emotions aren't chaotic anymore, they're harmonic. And the key difference? In the black hole, your emotions were shaped by your wounds. In the white hole, your emotions are shaped by your truth. So now your joy creates timelines. Your bliss codes your environment. Your awe, your peace, your love, those aren't indulgent. They're powerful field signals. And when you stabilize in white hole frequency, your emotions become clean currents of creation. So the observer falls away. Not because you're careless, but because you no longer need a buffer. You are the buffer. You are the field. So when your fascia is free from distortion, your emotions can flow through it like pure creative current. That's when your body stops reacting and starts creating. Fascia is the electrical communication system of the body. It's the interface where your physical and energetic bodies meet. You could say it's the physical bridge that allows your frequency to travel into form. But fascia doesn't act alone. It's part of a larger intelligence system. So let's talk about that. One part of the system is water. Your body is around 70% water, and fascia is water dense. But it's not just any water that matters. It's structured or coherent water that forms liquid crystals in the fascia. This allows light to move through the body like fiber optics. Next is minerals. These are the electrical conduits. Minerals like magnesium, potassium, sodium, and trace elements carry the current. Without them, water becomes inert. With them, fascia becomes conductive, responsive, and resonant. The next piece of the puzzle is blood. Blood is the carrier of soul codes. It transports oxygen, which is life force, nutrients that are cellular memory, and hormones, which are expression. It holds ancestral data and electromagnetic magnetism through its iron content. Your blood flows with coded intelligence. Next piece of it all is breath. Breath is the activator. It fuels fascia, moves emotion, and recharges the cellular matrix. Conscious breathing opens the diaphragm and energizes the light grid. The next thing is movement, especially spiraling, bouncing, and gentle stretching. Movement awakens fascia and circulates light, emotion, and hydration through the system. The next part of it all is emotion. Emotion is energy in motion. It flows through open fascia and becomes stagnant in contracted tissue. Releasing emotion frees energy and restores flow. The next part of this is sound and resonance. Frequencies from music, voice, tuning forks, or humming all reshape the internal waters. Fascia listens. It reorganizes in response to vibration. And the last thing I'll mention is stillness. Stillness allows integration. When you pause, the nervous system recalibrates. The fascia has time to shift into coherence. This is where your light body anchors. Together, all of these things I mentioned creates a liquid crystalline light grid. Your body is not just muscle and bone. It's a structured field of vibration, memory, and intelligence. Fascia is the bridge, water is the flow, minerals are the wiring, blood is the pulse, breath is the charge, emotion is the fuel, sound is the recalibrator, stillness is the anchor. So when you hear things like mineralize, hydrate, bounce on a rebounder, breathe, or be still, it's not surface level advice. It's how you activate your multidimensional body. It's how your frequency becomes form. It's how your timeline shifts through tissue. And when your fascia softens, your timeline does too. Now let's talk about our body's evolution, from carbon to crystalline. In an earlier episode, I shared that we're shifting from carbon-based bodies to silica-based bodies and ultimately into crystalline bodies. This evolution is not symbolic. It's cellular, structural, and dimensional. And everything we've just explored about fascia, water, minerals, and light supports it. Here's what that really means. So, carbon-based body is the old model, the black hole model. This is the body most of us were born into. It's dense, survival-oriented, based on physical chemistry and stress patterning. It's rooted in ancestral trauma, nervous system reactivity, and contraction under pressure. It metabolizes reality through force. It's beautiful but heavy, and aligned with black hole physics like decay, looping, and entropy. So now let's talk about the silica-based body. This is what I call our bridge body. In my last episode, I talked about how there's essentially three different paradigms of viewing reality. There's the black hole paradigm, there's the bridge paradigm, and there's the white hole paradigm. We are moving from a black hole paradigm to a white hole paradigm, but in the process, there might be the bridge step. So the silica-based body is the bridge step when it comes to our body. Silica is a frequency conducting mineral that forms the bridge into crystalline embodiment. It's part of fascia and collagen, and it stores and transmits information like quartz crystal. The silica body begins responding to light instead of just chemical signs. It prepares your system to carry coherence, not just survive. Now let's talk about the crystalline body. This is the new template. This is the white hole physics of it all. The crystalline body is the body you're evolving into now. It's built on liquid crystalline intelligence. It's fully responsive to frequency, not force. Fascia, water, and cells conduct light with precision. It exists beyond linear time. It's fluid, radiant, and intuitive. You regenerate through alignment, not effort. The body becomes a dimensional bridge, not metaphorically, but functionally. Crystalline embodiment isn't about sparkle. It's about structured intelligence. It's your soul's light made stable in form. And this is where everything we talked about earlier comes back in. Fascia becomes the crystalline grid. Structured water is the memory medium. Silica and minerals build the scaffolding. Breath, sound, movement, stillness. These are the coding tools. You're not just becoming lighter, you're becoming clearer. Your body isn't something to escape. It's the light lens your consciousness expresses through. So, from carbon to crystalline, we are not just evolving, we are crystallizing. Now let's talk about energetic beauty. So, beauty, not the commercial kind, but the energetic kind. When you stabilize in white hole frequency and begin embodying coherence, your appearance shifts. Not because you're trying, but because your tissues are reorganizing around safety and truth. Symmetry emerges as your internal field evens out. Glow rises because your fascia is conducting light. Softness returns because your nervous system is no longer bracing. Beauty becomes a byproduct of coherence. It's not something you layer on, it's something your field radiates. Your skin reflects your safety. Your glow reflects your hydration. Your eyes reflect your presence. Glow is not cosmetic. Glow is coherent light moving through tissues that aren't bracing anymore. In previous episodes, I've talked about how when we are fully anchoring in higher dimensional energy, or when we're stabilized in white hole realms, we begin to look and feel like what we might call the perfect specimen. This isn't about ego or vanity. It's about resonance. In the higher realms, all form is a direct reflection of divine order. Beauty is not manipulated. It emerges from alignment with Source. We see this reflected everywhere in nature. We see this in the golden ratio, which governs the spiral of galaxies, the shape of seashells, and the spacing of leaves. We see this in the Fibonacci sequence, which maps how life grows and expands in elegant spirals. And we see this in symmetry, which universally signals health, balance, and harmony. These patterns aren't aesthetic. They are frequency codes. They are the geometry of truth made visible. When you stabilize in white hole energy, Your body begins to reorganize into these harmonic structures. Your face begins to reflect golden proportions. Your walk becomes more fluid, almost spiral like. Your field carries a quiet rhythm, like a pulse that aligns with the cosmos. You become a living expression of divine mathematics. In the white hole field, beauty isn't something you strive for. It's what happens when your frequency returns to source. And this is why your glow becomes undeniable. Not because you're doing more, but because you're finally doing less of what distorts your form. Energetic beauty is the ultimate mirror. It tells the world, I am in my true pattern now. When you embody energetic beauty, you don't attract from effort. You magnetize from alignment. You don't chase timelines. They arrive through your resonance. This is the kind of beauty that rewrites rooms, collapses misaligned dynamics, and signals to the universe, I am living in truth now. Now let's talk about movement and the geometry of divine form. In previous episodes, I shared how movement, especially in black hole and bridge mechanics, can begin anchoring sacred geometry into the body. Let's expand on that now because this is deeply connected to how your physical form becomes more radiant, aligned, and geometrically beautiful. So here's what's really happening. When you begin moving from an embodied intentional space, rather than from force, shame, or control, you activate sixth-dimensional geometry through your body. The sixth dimension is the realm of sacred geometry. It's where all harmonic blueprints originate. And some of the harmonic blueprints are the flower of life, the Merkaba, the golden ratio, and the ideal human body proportions. In bridge mechanics, where you're between timelines and between paradigms, your movement becomes a generator for anchoring this harmonic order into form. Your movement becomes a message to source energy, align me with my original divine pattern. When you move with flow, spiral, breath, and presence, you begin syncing your physical structure to these higher blueprints. It's not just somatic work, it's dimensional repatterning. So here's how it plays out in the body. Your hips realign with your heart and crown, no longer locked in survival sway or imbalance. Your spine begins to coil and uncoil like a serpent, awakening vertical energy and life force. Your core becomes central, not tense but anchored. Your shoulders stop bracing, and your posture begins to hold effortless symmetry. Your movement becomes spiraled, rhythmic, elegant, even in stillness. These are not just physical upgrades. These are sacred pattern activations. You are literally becoming pleasing to the eye because your shape is beginning to mirror divine form. Humans are innately attracted to symmetry, balance, and golden proportions because we are wired to recognize harmony. It signals safety, truth, resonance. You are becoming a living fractal of divine intelligence, and that is always beautiful. Now let's talk about why movement matters. When you move your body in this stabilized frequency, you're not exercising, you're channeling geometry. Your fascia becomes a fiber optic light net. Your water becomes structured and spiraled. Your minerals carry the signal of golden proportion. Your blood pulses with radiant magnetism. You don't have to be doing sacred dance or formal somatic rituals. Even walking, stretching, and breathing can be enough, as long as you're attuned to presence and flow. Movement creates shape, and shape reflects harmony. This is why the body becomes more beautiful, not through external changes, but through internal alignment. The more anchored you become in your truth, the more divine your shape becomes. This is sacred beauty, not as something you chase, but something you restore. You don't need to control your body into perfection. Your body remembers perfection as a harmonic signature, and movement is one of the ways it returns to it. You're not sculpting your body, you're awakening its sacred geometry. This is how white hole embodiment and the body's aesthetic transformation are one and the same. Now let's talk about DNA and the embodiment of light codes. So let's take everything we've talked about, fascia, movement, sacred geometry, and bring it down to the deepest core of your physical existence, your DNA. Your DNA is not just a biological sequence. It's a quantum antenna. It receives light, stores memory, transmits resonance, and expresses timelines. And when your field stabilizes in white hole frequency, your DNA begins to unlock. You're not just shifting your body, you're shifting the very code that builds it. So let's talk about DNA as a light receiver and a transmitter. At the most fundamental level, your DNA is both a receiver and a transmitter of information. It listens to your field. It responds to light, sound, emotion, and coherence. It contains not only your genetic inheritance, but also your multidimensional blueprint. When you stabilize your frequency, you begin to activate the dormant portions of your DNA, the ones that were never meant to stay offline. And this isn't fantasy, it's resonance biology. DNA is not a fixed code, it's a frequency-dependent intelligence. So we're going from 2 strands of DNA to 12. Let's talk about what that really means. Most of humanity has been functioning with just 2 active strands of DNA, the physical survival-based coding. But there are 12 total strands, each one connected to a different dimensional layer of your being. As you stabilize in white hole energy, the other 10 begin to come online. Each strand or strand set unlocks unique aspects of your multidimensional self. Strands 1 and 2 are all about physical survival and identity. They control basic biology and physical function. They relate to root chakra, safety, fear, and identity as a separate self. And they govern fight or flight responses, instinctual behavior, and inherited trauma. Then strands 3 and 4 are all about emotional intelligence and subtle perception. They open your capacity for higher emotional processing and empathy. They connect to the emotional body and the heart's electromagnetic field. And they begin awakening clairsentience, emotional alchemy, and intuitive feeling. And then strands 5 and 6 are all about higher communication and soul memory. They activate telepathy, clairaudience, soul truth expression, and throat chakra integrity. They enable quantum memory recall, multidimensional past lives, and Akashic awareness. These strands often rewire the voice, breath, and resonance of your aura. Then strands 7 and 8 are all about spiritual gifts and multidimensional sensory access. They open the third eye and crown to new streams of higher intelligence. They activate clairvoyance, timeline sensing, energetic scanning, and remote vision. They begin integrating your galactic soul family and higher expression in your body. Then strands 9 and 10 are all about oversoul integration and quantum unity. They connect to the oversoul or monad, which is your full soul lineage in all incarnations. They activate cellular regeneration, sacred union templates, and higher mission recall. And they allow access to the 0 point field through stillness, joy, and coherence. And then strands 11 and 12 are related to source connection and divine human template. They reconnect you to your source self and God intelligence. These are the Christos or Sophia codes, the full restoration of divine human potential. They unlock your blueprint as a creator being, peaceful, magnetic, harmonic, multidimensional. The 12-strand DNA is not extra. It's original. You're just remembering how to turn it back on. Each strand represents an aspect of your full self, not just your physical potential, but your cosmic architecture. Now let's talk about how DNA activation happens. It's not forced, it's not hacked, it's not downloaded, it's received through alignment. When you stabilize in white hole frequency, your DNA begins to feel safe to expand. Fascia conducts the light, breath and movement amplify coherence, sacred geometry reorders the tissues, and your DNA begins to express from love instead of fear. This isn't a process of becoming superhuman. It's a process of remembering your true template. And here's something powerful to remember. The DNA is part of the final stage of white hole embodiment. Just like the body is the last to fully stabilize after your field has integrated, DNA expression is the final lock to click into place. It confirms and reflects everything you've anchored. But don't let that imply delay. This process doesn't have to be long. Once your field is stabilized, your body and DNA can begin organizing very quickly, sometimes in days or even hours. You'll begin to notice sudden changes in the way your body feels, in the way others respond to you, in the ease with which clarity and alignment arrive. That's not your imagination. That's your quantum biology shifting gears. When your DNA stabilizes, you don't just feel better. You start transmitting the truth of who you really are. Here are some signs your 12-strand DNA is activating. You feel emotional clarity and spiritual knowing rising simultaneously. You release ancestral pain without needing to process it. Your physical body begins to regenerate naturally. You receive intuitive downloads, multidimensional dreams, and new sensory awareness. You feel timeless, weightless, and radiant, like a tuning fork walking through the world. You're not evolving into someone new. You're activating the parts of you that always existed beyond the veil. Now let's talk about why this matters. Activating your DNA isn't just about personal transformation. It's about shifting the entire signal you send into the collective field. When you walk in your 12-strand frequency, you become a beacon, a resonance anchor, a healing field, a dimensional bridge for others. Your DNA becomes the map of coherence that others remember through your presence. You don't have to teach it. You don't even have to speak it. When your DNA is activated, your presence transmits truth. Now let's talk about repatterning through safety. After your DNA begins activating and your multidimensional blueprint comes online, your body starts to recognize itself not through force, but through safety. This is the next phase of white hole embodiment. The quantum codes have been received, the fascia is flowing, the DNA is broadcasting new intelligence. And now the body begins to settle into its true rhythm. You don't have to control your body into healing. You let it remember. In the black hole model, everything was force, control, pressure, and manipulation. The body was treated like an object. But in white hole embodiment, the body becomes a living intelligence again, and it responds to safety, not striving. So here's the new model. Movement becomes expression, not punishment. Food becomes frequency, not control. Touch becomes language, not discipline. Stillness becomes strategy, not laziness. And pleasure becomes activation, not indulgence. You're no longer working against your body. You're letting your body work with your frequency. You don't have to command it. You just have to stop confusing it. When your field is stable, your body listens. When your DNA is active, your body reorganizes. And when you stop pushing, your body begins to bloom. This is what portal level embodiment looks like. When your field is stable, your body listens. When your DNA is active, your body reorganizes. And when you stop pushing, your body begins to bloom. This is what portal level embodiment looks like. You don't have to make your body better. You just have to stop making it wrong. Now let's talk about signs that your body is becoming the portal. So how do you know when all of this is starting to come online? You may begin noticing subtle yet undeniable signs that your body is no longer bracing, chasing, or reacting. It's transmitting. Here are some signs that your body is stabilizing in white hole embodiment. You feel taller, more graceful, more fluid, even if you haven't changed your routine. Your breath deepens without trying, and your nervous system feels calm by default. Your face softens, your skin glows, and your posture opens. You begin receiving intuitive information through your body. Sensation becomes signal. You walk into a room and feel the energy shift. Not because you're trying to be seen, but because your field is radiant. You feel more at home in your body than you ever have. Anchored, sovereign, and light. You don't walk into a room, your field does. Your body is no longer reacting to the world. It's repatterning the world around you through stabilized coherence. You're not just healing anymore. You're becoming harmonic architecture in motion. This is the moment where embodiment and transmission become one. Where your body isn't just a home, it's a portal of remembering for others. And the best part, you don't have to do anything extra. You just have to stay aligned, stay open, and stay soft. Because you've already done the deep work. Now your body shows the truth. Now let's talk about how to support your portal body. Now that your body is stabilizing as a portal, it's important to honor and support it with care. Not from pressure, but from reverence. Here are some simple, high-frequency ways to nourish your body in this new state. Drink mineral-rich, structured water, spring water, vortex water, or water infused with intention to support your light grid. Move in ways that feel pleasurable and spiral-based. Bouncing, stretching, dancing, walking with presence. Eat like you're feeding frequency. Light-filled, nourishing, joyful food that honors your body's new intelligence. Touch your skin with presence and love. Your skin is a living receiver. Use sound to recalibrate. Hum, tone, chant, or play frequency music that supports your system. Embrace stillness. Allow space between transitions, moments of quiet, and pauses to integrate. And most of all, trust your body, trust its pace, trust its precision. Your body isn't behind, it's harmonizing. Let yourself be surprised by how little force is needed. Let yourself live like the portal you've become. Your light is enough. Your field is intelligent, and your body is catching up beautifully. You've already stabilized the light. You're no longer healing, you are expressing. The spiral has completed. The field is stable. The body is remembering. Let it reshape, let it glow, let it tell the truth without words. Because now you understand. Your fascia conducts light. Your DNA holds codes. Your movement generates geometry. And your presence transmits harmony. You are no longer reaching for the future. You are the anchor of a new one. Your body is the portal now. And the world is already beginning to notice. So before I end this episode, I want to do a guided ritual to activate your body portal. So if now's a good time, stay with me and find a quiet space. If you'd like to activate your body as a white hole portal right now, find a quiet space, stand or sit tall. Close your eyes, breathe gently into your belly. Bring your awareness to your skin, your fascia, your spine, and repeat after me. I allow my body to express the frequency I truly am. I no longer brace. I soften into coherence. I am the portal, and I let it be seen. Feel the light move through your skin, down your legs, through your spine. Let the fascia open. Let the glow rise. Let the stillness speak. You're home now, in your body and in your light. Let this not just be a concept, but a new way of relating to your form. Walk differently. Touch yourself differently. Speak from your field. Let the world feel you differently. This is the invitation. So that's all I have. I hope you liked this episode. I love you all so much, and have a great week.